What do you call a well-balanced horse? Stable.
If you're interested in being great, you better look hard into Washington State. You want to be great? Go to Washington State, baby.
We are back. Yes, I had to kick it off with something cheesy, and I know I got Joel grinning. I could see him in the backstage here. I might have even gotten some suggestive features from some other people here. Gosh, I love our team. Our team's so much fun. Speaking of teams, speaking of fun, this Wazzu, this Pac-12, we're kicking it off in the right direction. And in fact, wanted to bleed it off. I wish I was able to pull it up, but I have it saved on my phone from one of our former videos from the spring success and just that, talking about the spring game. We had a question, which was a great question from Tyler Dodge out there. Tyler, thank you. If you're listening, we're answering it right now, and I'm going to respond to you when we put it out, just so you know, hey, we answered it. Chad, you said top 2 defense in the PAC, assuming Fresno State is 1. What makes you think Wazzu will have a better defense than Boise State? Thanks. So, Chad, kick us off.
I love these thought-provoking questions. It really got me thinking too, and I feel strongly about this. And I want to make a statement first. It's like, obviously these guys got to go play on the field. The same guys that we're looking at our roster, we're not even seeing what the freshmen are coming in either, right? What are those another next little ripple that are going to be able to help the team that we don't know about yet today? Injuries can happen, so a lot can change over that time. But when I look at the defenses across the Pac-12, Fresno State, you brought up, I actually have them at number 4. Strong defense. They did great last year. You look at who they beat up, though, defensively, it was a lot of just their easy opponents. They were pretty consistent, though, all season, and they have the most returning starters. So can they take that next level forward and start, owning the rest of the pack? I think it's a wait and see. I don't know if they have really just the big playmakers on that defense. And then really you take it to Boise State, too, from there. Boise State lost Ty Benfield, I think that's his name, to LSU. That was their safety. That guy is a first-round talent, and those are hard to replace. We've seen it when QBs have left this room, and thankfully WSU has been able to find the next best one. But when you lose that first-round talent, it's a huge drop-off to the next guy. It's just no doubt about it. So when I look at that, just from a secondary standpoint, Boise State, they lost a lot of coaches too, mostly on the offensive side, but I just think there's a little bit of instability over there. So that's why I have Boise State number 3. And WSU, I have it number 2. And I think really just when it comes to our defense, obviously we have a lot of new guys in the room, but when you look at it, who we brought in a lot of power 4 guys that actually got place, and they were in that 2 deep. They just were looking for that opportunity in their last year to prove it so they can play at that next level. And that's more, we brought in more, and you look at the transfer portal, and that was something that was huge on. I've never been so into that outside of maybe Major League Baseball, free agency. I think that's the closest I get to it. So I was a kid in a candy shop, and WSU, how we handled our business and being able to retain guys too on the defensive side. Obviously, we had a lot of seniors graduate, but we really only lost Bobby Terrell. I mean, that was really it from a defensive. Max Balloon too, I think, was the other one. Lost to Iowa State, but we replaced them with McLean and Zunk. I think we got better. Not just you look at length, 6'4", 6'5", but you also look at the size of our defense. We've always been mighty by many. That's kind of how we played our defense, speed defense. You've heard a ton of that during the Grinch era too. It's just we don't have to rely on speed. I feel like now we have. You look at it. You look at our 2 deeps, and you take all 8 teams in the Pac-12. You see one thing that I want to circle. WSU is the largest defense in the Pac-12. We're at 6'3", 280, baby. I haven't.
Joel, what do we call that?
In a long time.
What do we call that?
Noise.
And I went back all the way to when I was the equipment manager, back in 2014, and I think we're like an inch and 10 pounds off from that. It was our next closest one. So super excited about where we're at from a defensive front. The rotation, it's more than just the 2 deep. We got 3 and 4 deep on that interior D line. And then just really seeing like the secondary too. So obviously this is a WSU channel, so I'm going to give the WSU Cougs the most love. But, I just think really from the body of work too, coaching staff, you have a Trent Bray too. You have a lot of confidence from Coach Moore with Trent Bray and him talking about what he did with Jonathan Smith's team back when he was handing the reins as a defense. I know this was a recent interview with Moore. So ton of confidence on that side. And then SDSU, they're my number 1 overall. They have a really strong defensive attack. Last year, they were just punishing opponents from the defensive end position. I know they lost a guy, I believe, to Texas Tech. Texas Tech was paying everybody. They were really deep on the defensive line. And you look at the size, they were number 3 in size too. So I feel like it's still something that's there. I think it's there. I keep SDSU at the top because I feel like it would be wrong to move them down. I think they've earned that number 1 spot, at least going into the season.
Nosey, what are your thoughts on this defense as it, correlates with the rest of the Pac-12 or this new Pac-12?
I think Chad nailed it. Like, we can speculate, we can talk about all these guys, but until they actually get on the field against one another, it's kind of a crapshoot. But again, I think he's looking at subjectively of the idea of we have guys that have experience at the Power 4, but also you look at what we gained. We gained a plethora of guys in the trenches, which if you look at any successful football team, that is where it starts. You can have the best run game or best running back. It doesn't matter unless you have guys up front making plays happen. Same thing on the defensive side. Linebackers can't do their job unless they've got big boys like Joel here plugging holes, so that way they can actually make reads. They can see in the backfield and attack and make the angles and make things happen. If you look at what the Cougs did, that's what they focused on first. That's what they got. They got those big guys. Then they looked at the linebackers. You got a Nyland Brown. Then they started spreading it out. They got to the corners, got to the safeties. You just if you look at a blueprint of how you treat this transfer portal, which again is in its infancy, this is the way you do it. Again, you can figure out there's going to be variations, but the way they focused on, okay, retain interior, okay, now go get interior and work your way out. I think, honestly, again, I'm not Chad, but that's why I put the Cougs at 2, because the fact of how they developed this team, they brought in guys with the size from the Power 4 and with the experience. These aren't a bunch of just freshmen that didn't get any time. These are guys that have seen it a little bit, and they're maybe. Yeah, I think Chad even mentioned they were probably 2A guys or 1B guys. They wanted to be 1A guys, so they got their opportunity here. This defense, I mean, up front is far and wide, I think, has a ceiling to surpass last year. The biggest thing for the Cougs, and I think what we've seen for a long time that we want to see, is hands grabbing jersey and the guy goes to the ground on the first grab, and not, the Ashton Genty who, breaks 15 tackles for 100 yards. That's the big thing that I want to see. We can look this great. We can have all these guys, but I just want to see gang tackling, which we saw from last year to the year prior, night and day difference. I just need to see more guys on the ground sooner and not having these extra yards after contact. That's the big one.
Yeah. And also 1.2 on SDSU. They also, when it compared to WSU, I feel like they probably had the second best portal class too. So that's why I'm keeping there the number 1. But Gavin, I got a question for you. Obviously, we're talking defense today, but how much does a running game play into your defense and how they perform?
Yeah, especially you look at what Kirby Moore is built for and what he has been very good at. It's having a at least balanced run game versus what we're so used to as Coug fans is the ball in the air. I mean, even through Nick Rolovich, we saw the ball in the air. It was a different style as West Coast offense, run and shoot, which I think we're still going to have a good dabble of run and shoot West Coast offense this year. But having, and some people are saying we have 3 really good running backs, and to no fault of their own, I'm telling you, we have 4, 5, and maybe even 6 really good running backs. It's just how many do we want to use? Because we have Bo Phillips behind the 3 that we've already mentioned, and then we have incoming freshman Lance McGee, and then we have 2 other incoming freshmen that are also really good, that you're going to start to hear these guys' names. And if they don't get the rock a whole lot this year, it's not because they weren't good enough. It's because there's just that many guys lined up at running back. And I'm telling you, if there's versatility, if any of them got hands, they might be going out and playing in the slot. They might be, or just give them the ball in open space and let them go. And everybody's going to kind of buy into a role. Or we just have 3 really good running backs. It could be that simple, where we just have 3 really good running backs and the rest kind of fall in suit or factor in. But the run game is going to be huge. And I think we're going to have a really good run game. And I love the fact that we have a lot of retainment on that offensive line to help this run game and to help newer quarterbacks. I mean, any one of these quarterbacks that's going to get the ball this year, that's going to start, is going to be brand new of being a starter for a full year at this level. Even Julian Duggar, who got to be honest, I don't know if did he get a start last year, or was it no? Even in the bowl game, it was Evie Eckhouse. So even he would be a first year or first time starter at this level.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about obviously controlling the ball, controlling the clock, right? How long can you have the ball, and so keep your defense off the field. So I just feel like you nailed it, Gavin, just with our depth at running back, being able to keep the ball moving during the game. I just feel like we're going to be in a really good spot.
Well, and I want to toss it to Joel too. Joel, we talked about this defense, how good they are. And I swear every single podcast, if we're talking Wazzu football, we're talking about how good this defense is. But Joel, as it relates to the Pac-12, and I don't know if you got to break down the rest of the Pac-12, but just seeing what these guys are doing, seeing this film, you played the game, you've seen this game at a high level. What do you expect in this Pac-12? Where do you have these guys ranked, going up against this new Pac-12 and the rest of these teams?
I'm going to shake it up a little bit. I'm glad you asked, and I'm listening. Fantastic insights, Chad, and as well, Kyle. Yes, it's important to have the pieces return. There's something about continuity, having the coaches, the coaching staff. I think, though, even more paramount than that is the amount of reps that these individuals have. As a defense, yeah, we had a lot of folks that came in and transferred, right? But as you also hinted, Chad, I mean, these guys have gotten reps in big time games, big time environments. There's been individuals that we've seen come from even community college or junior college rankings. And the thing that I look forward to say, because I'm just going to tell you, honestly, Gavin, I'm still saying that my prediction is still we're going to be number 1 in the Pac-12 for defense. I see us even still now.
Let's go.
Right. And it's like, it's wild to say, but the reason I say it too is looking at the other side of the coin. Comparatively, we brought a lot of offensive linemen back. Right. I was like, there's majority of what we have on our offensive line. There is a lot of continuity that stayed. There's some folks that listened to what Moore had to offer when he came to that bowl game. I was like, okay, you know what? It's worth another shot. Let's go again. I want to stay in Pullman. Is what I'm looking for. And I think a lot of what echoed, and you're right, maybe it's not air raid offense, but having that mix, having that pro style that can not only work in our Pac-12 now, but can continue out into any aspirations they have of becoming pros. I think it correlates, it works well. But I bring up the offensive line because the plays that are being made through spring ball, I mean, we don't see it, right? We were hearing about it. But one of the things that was continuous, one of the things that was echoed through the K's over and over and over again was like, yeah, defense is great. But even when they zoomed in to do the interviews with individuals, whether it was Jeremiah Bernard or one of the linebackers, what have you, it's like, hey, our defensive line is kicking ass. I mean, they are handling business. They are constantly in the backfield, constantly causing disruption. And that pattern happens, even if you have an offensive line that's been together, that pattern only happens not only because you have individuals that have gotten reps, but more importantly, you have enough playmakers that feel confident enough to make a play every single time, every single snap. And the feeling I'm getting, I know it's like hearsay. We're hearing about it, but the feeling I'm getting as I'm listening to these folks in these interviews is like, this defensive line is the front that will be a terror. The front that is going to lead the Pac-12 in big plays. I mean, I was even watching I mentioned in the last episode watching some of the spring ball game for the Purple Puffs. So I went ahead and watched the long form today as well. Just because I was like, okay, maybe I'm, looking at condensed, I might be, getting a little ahead of myself. I feel like the way that they were playing, the way that they set up spring ball, most colleges, they might decide to be lax in it, and so be it. They might have some concerns. As I was watching it, and I thought to myself, like, what would this look like with our D line as we were lining up against them? And one of the things that jump out to me is their blind side is wide open. So like, I haven't looked at the other teams in the Pac-12. I'll be honest. I haven't looked to see like, hey, what is their D line look like comparatively, or how's our offensive line going to go against us? But just from the little bit that I've witnessed from the very small sample size, we are playmakers, and it is tough to beat playmakers when they believe in each other as a unit. But we'll see. We'll see.
Joel bringing the heat on. When this drops, it'll be Monday. But Joel bringing the heat on a Monday. I love it. Hey, I'm looking at these Purple Pups, and they ain't that good. I love it because anybody who went to Wazzu, hey, anytime you get a chance to hear something like that, it's always fun to just kind of diagnose. But yeah, Joel, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and one evidence piece from that, because it's easy to say, like, oh, they don't look that great, and then disappear like Homer into the hedges. But I'll give you one example. Right out the snap, I was like, okay, I wonder, like, everybody's going to be rusty, how this first drive goes. And they tried, I think, a run play, didn't do anything against their, I'm assuming ones versus ones. And then the first pass play was an interception. And it wasn't an interception like, hey, the receiver, should have caught it and then, mishandled it. It was easily to see, like, thrown behind the receiver trying to make up for the mistake and the ball being intercepted. And then afterwards, another series with the same, who was supposed to be their first string quarterback, right? Damon Williams. There are a couple of plays where he has a clean pocket. Pristine, and he is just overshooting. And the little bit of receptions, completions he was getting for negatives, they try to even throw out a trick play. It's like the confidence. I don't want to call it arrogance, but like confidence to be willing to just show your cards this early.
Joel, that's what happens. Joel, that's what happens when you're running the LSU playbook and you go, "Oh shit, I'm actually supposed to run the UW playbook. My bad."
Well, and also,
maybe.
Joel, I don't know if you Joel may be open to this information. I don't know how open, but Damon Williams, there was a lot of controversy with him in the offseason. And so I'm wondering,
is he going to be back? Is he not going to be back? Is it what was real? Talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, he tried to just and leave with signing a contract, which is just crazy to me. But I wonder, how that plays in the locker room. Does that, hey, our fearless leader doesn't really care to be here, and he was just about to leave, and then he's like, oh shoot, sorry, got to stay here. I'm curious on if that plays a factor into it as well. And yeah, it's good to just kind of take note. And yeah, I know.
Just to wrap sorry.
I was about to say that the Purple Pups, if anybody is watching this, they might screen record me, and if September 5th rolls around and doesn't go our way, I'll probably be shamed for it. But hey, you know what? Go Cougs. That's what it's all about. So yeah, Joel, go ahead and finish your thought there.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right, Gavin. I was just to wrap it. It was the way it went. The narrative was like, hey, Damon, this is successful spring ball for him because he coached well during it, because he made no plays from what I could see, just by straight stat facts, and even the interview, what I would have expected to feel, because I noticed like there was no communication to him as he came onto the sideline, or like, hey, remember to do this, or like, hey, what did you see? There was nothing of that. It was just carefree, blasey. When he was interviewed at the very end, he was interviewed, I think alongside him was someone who's now in the NFL, I believe, with Cleveland Browns. And my thought was going to be one of two responses. He's either going to say, like, ideally I would have went another way, but we're figuring things out as a unit. Here's some things I need to improve, or like, expect to see better. This is not what I expected of myself. Neither of those things happened. He was very confident. He was like, yeah, I coached up. Was it Kinney, who was fantastic? McMillan. He's like, yeah, I coached him up, and we got him through. It was like a good drive, and I'm glad he got that touchdown. The sole touchdown, other than a muffed punt that was returned in for a touchdown by the defense or punt team. But yeah, it was interesting to see him like lit up, smiling, talking with confidence. I was like, you're not at one point going to talk about like how many throws you missed, or like what's happening, man? You know, so it was a
practice.
Weird, like, was I watching something else? Like I watched the full length version, and you had a couple series where you were able to play throughout until the half. I don't know. Maybe that was the goal.
All right, we're talking way too much about UW.
I can't let this go. I mean,
yeah, we're talking way too much about UW football. I want to change the subject here.
Yeah, we
got something really cool to talk about. This Pac-12 takes off finally in 2026, and $13.2 million is now going out, which I believe puts them at number 5 in all conferences. Weird that they're still right there in the P5 scenario. I know that it's a pretty major drop off from number 4 to number 5. However, for this Pac-12 to continue to grow, I wanted you guys to give me just one school that you'd like to see that would make this conference better. That, if we add them, I think over time they're going to add value to this conference. They're going to compete at a national level or already have a national name. Knowles, I'll kick it to you first. What's one school you'd like to see join the Pac-12 beyond 2026?
I'm gonna have to do a package. It's gonna be Cal Stanford.
Bring him back. Just bring him on back.
Logistically speaking, it works. In terms of what you're getting 2 national brands who are solid in multiple sports, not just football. I know football is usually the big one, but multiple sports, baseball, basketball, like you've got a lot there. Prestige of just the colleges themselves. And then just logistics in terms of travel. I think they regret what they're doing. They're going to deal with it till they can renew. But to me, you bring them back. You've got yourself your, what will that put us at what, Pac 11, right? I think we're at 8, so Pac 10. But to me, it's those 2 schools. I think it gives a little bit of familiarity. It gives you some more strength when it comes to all your other athletic sports. To me, it's a done deal. It's a no-brainer.
Love it. Chad, who you got for me? I know you got some golden ones.
Can I disagree with Kyle real quick? I love that, Kyle, but do they want it? Academia, just think about that. We maybe have to add Rice for them to think about that, but I'll leave it there. I'm going to go with UNLV. Let's just stay consistent. Some of these should have probably joined the conference.
Keep gutting that Mountain West.
Just keep going after that Mountain West. And I just look at more of like TV, fan base. How can you like good places to travel? What makes sense? They're paying their coach Mullins $3 million a year, so it's on par with what the Pac-12 is doing with their coaches. So,
good media market too.
Better budget. I think that makes the most sense. They're West Coast base, and if I was to expand beyond there, I'd like to go east, but I'll let somebody else take that.
Well, yeah, Las Vegas also a good media market, right? Like it's a big spot. Like you said, great destination spot. I think you'd see a lot of Cougs travel down to Las Vegas for those types of games and everything. Joel, talk to me, baby. Who do you got joining the Pac-12 that's going to make the Pac-12 better over? Yeah, you can toss it out 5 years, 10 years, but who's going to make the Pac-12 better in due time?
This would be long down the road. You guys will be like, "What are you talking about, Joel?" But this is strictly for the continuance of rivalry and I think the potential for this team to grow up and then eventually, increase our fan base or increase the intrigue. But I'm going to say University of Idaho, actually. I'm going to say we pull them up and out of the SDS, the Battle of Palouse, keep it going. If it's if it's not saying like, oh, here's this big team that's gonna crank us up in the Pac-12, but I was like, hey, like, is it worth the opportunity not only for us but then also for them? Does it make a difference for them for their university? I know it's a big stretch. Also, a couple. I don't think
the Kibby Dome can, unless they're gonna blow out one side of the Kibby Dome. I don't think that's happening.
Joel,
I love the
your
Kibby
enthusiasm. I love the direction because Idaho, baby, we're doing it. Vandals up. I'll finish this bad boy off with I would actually, if we're going up, there's 2. I'd like to see Tulane because I think they're a little closer west than Memphis. I mean, you could argue Memphis, Tulane or Memphis, but I'm going to go for argument's sake, I'm going to go with Tulane. Just, their prowess, also great, media spot being in New Orleans. And then going up, I'd love to see a Montana State or South Dakota State do that of North Dakota State. Now they would need upgrades. I think Montana is the closest in facilities, and they would need upgrades to be able to kind of match. But as far as talent goes, I think that they would be probably close to the middle. I think, especially if you Montana State, who won it all last year, I think if you brought them and Vegan State, it would be another reason for Vegan to stay at Montana State if you were to go with them. But yes, there would need to be some facility upgrades. But I think if you put them in the Pac-12, they compete for football. I don't know about the other sports.
I think that's the kicker. Is that we're thinking about one sport. You've got to think about every other sport, men's and women's sports, and I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know their success at their other scholastics. To me, that's where I think you got to go with okay, Cal, Stanford. Also, you think about the travel. The travel's a big one. I think you're already hearing about. I mean, you think about UW rowing. How much you have to travel to get all your equipment across the country to go do that. There is a huge impact on that. And I think they'll deal with it because they just think they need to be, the hoity-toity up above. But I feel like if you can really solidify yourself as being the West Coast Conference, you can maybe dabble a little bit. Obviously, we do with Texas, so you work your way in there. So UNLV would be a great pickup. I absolutely agree there. I just don't think us trying to go so far on the East Coast that it's just going to be the one school you're trying to bring the other 11 to or other 10 to. I don't see it.
That's fair. I'll throw you one more. I know we're going a lot here. I'll throw you one more because we talked about academic prowess, and basketball also seems to be a very powerhouse. So this is the non-football school, Creighton. Creighton has a great basketball program, a great baseball program, and they bring academic prowess. With that, you would probably potentially get Wichita State out of that too, just because the rivalry. Wichita State has a great basketball and baseball program. They don't have the academic prowess that Creighton does, but you would get a good rivalry there, and it stays central. It's not quite Tulane. It's not all the way over there, and they would be straight north of Texas State. So yeah, there's another one.
What about?
I just think I was just say with baseball, like you look, Gonzaga has made a great push this
Oregon
last
State, Dallas
season.
Baptist, yeah.
Well, you mentioned Dallas Baptist. Like, why not we just go back to the Dallas well and we ask North Texas, do you want to join? They don't have a baseball program. Like, that's what I'm thinking. Like, proof is in the bread.
Or UTSA. Yeah, there's so many names out there. We're gonna have to create a second episode to keep this bad boy going, though. I apologize for hogging the mic with most of my ones there, but we're gonna have to talk about some more Pac-12 because there's so many directions and so many teams that you can add flavor to this. And if you wanted to just add basketball and baseball only schools, there's a lot on the West Coast. Big West provides really good baseball. UC Santa Barbara just made the jump to West Coast Conference. They'd be one I'd like to see baseball wise in this conference. But boys, we covered a good bit today. This Pac-12, this Coug team, we're going to be very excited. Come September 5th. But wait, we got a little bit of a teaser. If you stayed this long, we're about 28 plus minutes into this thing. We got something cool coming your way. If you're not subscribed, you might want to stay subscribed because we're going to have some really cool stuff dropping May 28th that'll bleed right into game day on September 5th. So make sure you're checking that out. We will drop as we get close, maybe the day before, maybe the morning of. We'll let you know exactly what's going on, but just stay tuned because we got some really cool stuff coming your way. For Palouse Podcast, we got Chad, we got Joel, we got Kyle. I'm Gavin, and just remember, life's too short. Gas up your boys.